Hello, everybody. Um, Today is February 12th, 2017. This is my 276th day of hormones, which means I'm almost to my 10th month. And I want to clarify that I will have been on hormones for 9 months, and I'm going into my 10th month. I think I confused myself by going, 10 months, 10 months. I've completed 9 months, so. Kind of a serious topic today. We're going to talk about deconstruction in kind of a negative context. And before I get there, let me set the reason why. Tomorrow I have my first appointment with a letter writer, the second letter writer for my GCS. And part of meeting a mental health professional for the first time, and especially in the light of the GCS second letter, the evaluation letter, is they're going to want to know my history. And so I wanted to go back through my journal and kind of do a timeline, which I have in front of me, of key points in my life, realistically in the last 5 years. Things such as, when did my ex-wife and I begin to have some issues? When did we decide to get a divorce? When was the divorce finalized? When did she move out? When did I begin to dress more and more feminine? When did I present myself in a female role? Those kinds of things. And so, there's no doubt that part of the transition process can be very freeing and very liberating and very uplifting and very positive, and oh my goodness, things are wonderful. But I really didn't. It's like I had hidden the darkness leading up to that point. And so today, again, trying to draw this timeline of how I got to that point really just dug up a lot of old garbage. And maybe this video is a way of me processing. It's not meant as a vindictive letter. It's not going to put the finger at anybody. It's just going to general, statements. And maybe I won't even go into specifics and just say that it's part of the process, to again, just so you can explain to someone else, how did I get here? How did I get to this stage? What brought me to make the decisions that I made? And then, they're going to evaluate you, and hopefully, if it's to be, it will be. If it's not meant to be, it will not meant to be. But in the back of my mind, I can't fathom meeting someone and with me being full time and them say to me, "Oh no, you're not transgender, you're something else." I'd be like, I disagree, and I'm going to go find somebody else, so but that's all part of the game of the second letter process. But anyway, I just got a text. What else was I going to say? Again, talking about deconstruction, and maybe that's all I really have to say. It's just that picking apart the negative, maybe that's what I was trying to reference. Again, looking at the past and the destruction and the grief and the anger. I'm like I said, I'm not going to go into specifics. I'm just going to comment that things happen to get to a point, and my hope is that we'll see. And obviously, the reason for doing this is to establish GCS, and I apologize. I think my last 6 or 7 videos have all been about GCS, but at least that clues you into what's on my mind. And maybe I've just reached that point in my transition where it's like, okay, I've transitioned at work, things are going cool. I definitely appreciate life on a daily basis, but I want to hoo-ha, I want to have sex. I want to, it wasn't, in light of taking this transition one step at a time, I have reached this plateau, and now I'm reaching for the next plateau. a little background on myself. Um, I really realized that I needed to transition as far back as uh, June of 2015. I mean, I had wanted to transition before then. I had had periods of wanting to transition and being on hormones and whatnot, but this current transition period started in June of 2015, and uh, my ex-wife and I both were amiable. We both realized the relationship wasn't going to work, and she was very honest and open with me and just flat out said, I can't live with you as a woman. And so again, I appreciate her honesty. Uh, that said, it was December of 2015, some 4 months after that announcement, that I really started to go dress full time. I started to, wear clothes. I slowly shifted into the role presentation wise. I bought a whole new set of clothes slowly. Wasn't all at once, but I stopped wearing male jeans and I wore women's jeans, and I stopped wearing guy shirts and I wore women's shirts. They weren't overly girly, they weren't overly feminine, but again, I was dressing more in a gender neutral area. But I mean, top to bottom, I was wearing women's sneakers, I was wearing women's sandals, I was wearing women's socks. I mean, it gets kind of silly, it's just a woman, same thing, but that began to encroach upon my work and my life. And but December, I can remember we went and saw Star Wars, and that was when my ex-wife kind of relented and said, yes, you can dress as a woman and go. So really, that was the start of more and more presentation and experimentation. It really was not until after my ex-wife had moved out, and kind of after we got the divorce lined up, that I would not consider to be full time, the start of my RLE, until my daughter had asked me about the transition. She noticed what was going on. She wanted to know more. And I had consulted with her counselor back in December. What do I do? How do I let my daughter know? How do I do that? And her counselor was very adamant and said, let her come to you, let her approach you. She's going to notice something's up. And sure enough, in June of 2016, my daughter reached to give me a hug, and it was like a movie. She felt some breasts, and she wanted to know what was going on because she was going through puberty at the time. So I really kind of consider that date, June of 2016, as being okay. The last person on this earth that I was kind of hiding this from knows, and there is no reason for me to even do male drag or whatnot. Now, did I immediately put on makeup, paint my fingernails, and go outside running, the hills are alive? No. But I did, from that point on, I did dress more and more feminine. I did begin to wear skirts around the house, and we go grocery shopping. I'd be present as a female and everything else. So, again, that was a huge thing. And again, I'm kind of building up to this idea that it's up to the mental health professional to pick a date and say whether I'm ready for surgery or not. And I just have to accept the fact that, it may very well be that, since I didn't get my driver's license changed until, December of 2017, they might say, well, that's when your RLE started. But I really disagree with that. I really think, it was June that, I made that decision, and that's when I really started. And I threw everything mail out the window and told my work what I wanted to do. And, really at that point, everything was just waiting on the divorce to get processed. My divorce lawyer told me, don't, advise me against changing my social security number and my driver's license, until the divorce was finalized. And so again, in my mind, it really is up to them. The mental health professionals are my letter writer number one and my letter writer number two. I just have to give them, if they give me the green light, then I can take those letters and go to my insurance company and go from there. So anyway, sorry if I spoke a lot. I think I've got GCS on the brain, and I'm just trying to rationalize maybe my feelings, but I did want to just talk about some of the past, and a lot of pain on for a lot of people, and I'm truly sorry for that. I wish I could have done something differently, but at the same time, I think people do the best they can do. They always say that about your parents. You don't understand your parents till you are a parent, and I can only do my best. So, all right. Well, that's all I can say. Transition line time again is day 276. Back to the transition, body changes, etc., etc. Coming on month number 10 here. About a week ago, my hormone levels were increased, and I can feel the difference. I feel like a sloth. I'm going real slow, but I feel very much at peace. My breasts are very, very, very tender, very, very, very sore, which means they're growing, which is awesome. And that's all I can say. It's interesting. I'll share one more thing and then I'll end the video, I promise. At work on Friday, excuse me. Izzy, shh. Izzy, puppy. She's scratching the carpet, tearing it up. At work, my new boss, we had met, discussed some things, and then later in a meeting, a couple days later, on Friday, he got up and said, well, I really would like to thank Robin for all her work, and she really has, taken the initiative on this. I'm very happy with her. He just used so many female pronouns, and I was just like sitting there just like, oh, and very, very positive and uplifting. And yet over the weekend got to play D&D, and there was a time, and again, you let people slip up, but one person's a little more hesitant to, oh, you've always been this person to me, and that's how I'm going to treat you type thing. And, it really does hurt you when you get, and maybe I let it hurt me, when someone says he or him or his, it's like, it makes you want to rip off your clothes, and, show them what you got. And maybe if you're like me, you don't got much, but you got something, and you're like, is this what a man has, Anyway, but on a positive note, like I said, I think things are progressing the way they need to be. And, my hope for anyone on this journey is that we have to live day by day and live in the moment. And, like my mom always says, look at how far you've come. Look at how far you've come. For me, here I am, boo-hooing, maybe having to wait another 6 months to have surgery. But, how far is that from where I was a year ago or 2 years ago? Or even, again, I can look at my journal and look at where I was 8 months ago. So, all right, I'm almost out of time. Good luck, and we will see you later.